You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
Friday afternoon means a fresh episode of Oilersnation Radio. Gang's all here except Rick, honorary cold performer of the week. He is currently in Mexico.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Tyler thought he's been in Mexico for weeks now.
I've been coming in every Monday, Thursday for a few weeks, being like, hey, Rick's in Mexico this week, guys. And it's like, nope, he isn't. Today, finally, I was right. Broken clock, right twice a day.
Yep. Last week, he was in his dark apartment watching movies from the glow of his iPad.
Mm-hmm.
The visual is very funny if you think about it. Pitch black apartment, Rick sitting in his cuck chair, watching movies. iPad dies, got to go to bed.
We're also back in the ON Everyday studio, which used to be our studio for this one. So BM's in like a different spot. He's the only one who can see the monitors. Everything's going good.
Yeah, everything's looking good. Unlike yesterday on Real Life, where we had to do a take 2 of the start of it wasn't recording.
Oh, really?
Went 8 minutes without our mics faded up.
And then finally I look at my graph that I usually look at and I go, hey, Tyler, nothing's on.
Yeah.
Problem.
Damn.
So we had to re-record.
So if you're watching this on the video version, we are in the Oilers Nation Everyday studio, which will be back to being the ON Radio studio in what timeline?
Pretty soon here, like end of the month at the latest kind of thing. We're just piecing together a few more little things, for the upstairs studio, and then we'll be ready to make our big switch. But we've kind of partially started to make the big switch and get like our cabling set up. So the other studio is now being dismantled.
How's it looking up there?
Good.
Cozy.
I'm really happy with it.
Can't wait for a nap up there.
We got curtains.
Do you think like we should have like a sanctioned nap time?
As long as you're up before 9.
Oh, when the shows go live.
Yeah.
What about like a midday nap time? What time do you guys end?
If
One.
no one's up there.
Yeah. One
Quick 30-minute kip. Come on.
1 to 1:30 nap time upstairs in the new studio.
Power nap.
Cut down on all the yawns that we get the reviews for.
100%.
Yeah, there you go.
All 5 of us can fit in that bed.
It's a big bed. It's quite comfortable too.
See? Something to look forward to. Streaming us sleep. Coming soon to the Oilers Nation YouTube channel. Go subscribe today. Tyler, we're going to start off with a delicious debate for our friends at Odd Company, as we always do. Of course, we are pumped that the Nation Network has partnered with Odd Company to bring you the all-new Nation Beer Everyday Lager. It's perfect for your next big game, like Edmonton versus Toronto, coming up on Saturday, or just your next go-to lager, because it's the last Friday of the week. Find it at Odd Company Brewing or at Liquor Connect. Odd Company has the 2 locations here in Edmonton. My bet with Lehman is still active and accruing interest. So 4-pack has turned into 8.
Hui.
Million.
So
Are we going to do that?
What?
Lions, Bills play each other this
We'll
season.
definitely do that.
I forgot about that.
when's that come?
December 15th.
You got KC this weekend.
Yeah, we do. It's going to be a tough one.
Mm-hmm. Vikings play the Titans. They lose to the Titans, I'm going to be upset. It's definitely going to be Sam Darnold's fault. Go to Odd Company Brewing or Liquor Connect to find some Nation beer. It's not a liquor store near you. Ask them why. Ask them why not. Get them to bring it in for you. Nation Beer, everyday lager is delicious. Tyler Yaremchuk, what is our delicious debate?
Where does last night's moment, Connor McDavid hitting 1,000 points, rank for you amongst the all-time McDavid moments? And some contenders here. You obviously had the night he scored 60 goals for the first time in his career. There was no one in the building, but the night he got his 100th point in 55 games in the shortened season, which no one thought he was capable of doing. You could pick a playoff moment for him, winning the Western Conference. Although that one I think is maybe more of like a team achievement. But if you were to zero it in on just the Connor McDavid achievements, his 150th point of the year, which was bananas, 100 assists last year, where does this one rank for you guys?
I would say think third.
Okay.
For me, number 1. What?
Nothing. Go for it.
I just like Tyler's answer to it. It's just very dry. Okay.
Number 1,
Go ahead.
goal against the Yotes, 60th of the year. I was in the building for that one, so that was awesome.
Mhm.
Number 2, not the game winner against the Kings in Game 7, but the moment that like sealed it.
Yep.
And then number 3 would be that, because I was in the building for the first 2. So number 4, for people curious, OT goal against Calgary. Is that the right answer?
Well, I mean, there is no right answer. This is all personal.
Oh, just making
Preference.
sure no one said anything.
One of the fun things that I did on Better Late Than Never this week was I just asked, what's your favorite goal you can remember? And he scored hundreds of them now at this point. And it was interesting to see everybody's answers because they ranged from a lot of people love the New York goal.
Yeah.
You just have to say the New York goal and they know what you're talking about. The Dallas goal from game 6 this year, danced Miro Heiskanen, top shelf, unreal goal. The winner against Calgary. But if we're talking about specifically about milestones, to me, I have a hard time not going all the way back to his very first NHL goal because we had a season launch party that night. And Dan, you were there, you remember? The cherries of Jack Daniels coming out to the tables. It was a different time in company history at that point, but seeing him go from that moment where he was still a fresh-faced kid to point number 1,000, like I'm going all the way back. Seeing Connor McDavid, who is going to be, well, he had the pressure of changing the franchise's fortunes, getting that first one. Everybody just kind of went, whew. Because the first couple of games, he didn't really get anything done. And it was, generational talent. And then he just took off from there. So nothing surprises me. Last night on the broadcast, Jack Michaels was talking about, did you know from point 900 to 1,000 took 57 games?
Damn.
Wow.
So that's not a milestone necessarily, but seeing him hit these totals in so few games it's hard not to look at.
Well, for me, I think I'm going to say it's the number one milestone he's had so far in his career. I really just, when you look at how that moment affected him and then the names that he now finds himself amongst, and it's not so much just the fact that he has 1,000 points and he's the 99th guy to do it. He's the 4th fastest dude alive to do it.
And he just missed third too.
And the only names in front of him are Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky,
Lemieux, and Mike Bossy.
There you go. And like, so legends in the game. And again, this is something where you've had numerous debates for Connor McDavid over his career. We've talked about Connor versus Matthews. You've talked about Connor versus McKinnon. It's just not there. Nobody is even close to him anymore. This is an amazing milestone.
Yeah. And I think if, again, along Dan's point or to Dan's point, if you were to make a case for this being the number one pure individual moment for McDavid, it's look how much it meant to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like his dad and his agent sitting in the stands together.
The reaction with his dad was fantastic.
Was great. And like Connor himself smiling for so many of those early milestones, he was quick to almost not dismiss them, but brush them off in the sense of like, yeah, it was great, but like, I'm happy we got the win and
bring
whatever.
It back to the team.
Yeah. Right. Like, oh, it's team thing. And that was one. And maybe that's why I'm ultimately happy that the team jumped over the boards. Cause I kind of thought like, is Connor going to maybe tell him like, hey guys, we're not doing that. But I think that again shows how much this meant to Connor to see his teammates give him the love, to do it on home ice so that he could talk to Tony Brar after and honestly start to get emotional. And I know he joked, which again, he joked that, he's getting emotional in his old age. And it was like, he showed so much personality and showed so much of a grasp of the moment that it's like, this clearly meant more to him than really any of those other things he's done. So how could it not be number one if it's kind of number one for Connor?
By the way, I love that his dad was just sitting in the crowd.
Yeah,
For a moment like that. One of the fine folks from the audio department was actually sitting right behind Mr. McDavid, and he was turning around, high-fiving fans after it. He was just super into it. I love that.
The tweet from Courtney Theriot that he put out just kind of put it into perspective for me. To put McDavid's 1,000 points in 659 games into perspective, Austin Matthews, another generational talent, would need 340 points in his next 84 games to match that pace. That's just over 4 points per game.
Chant, you think he gets it?
Well, and this is where Oiler fans have been clamoring for years for Toronto to stop comparing him because it's not fair to Austin Matthews. But it's just, that just shows you the gravity of that moment.
Frank had a good tweet. McDavid reached 1,000 points in 98 fewer games than Sid, 189 fewer than Malkin, 211 fewer than Alexander Ovechkin. Like, again, I think maybe this is why Connor even felt it as a bit more significant, is like, this cements him with the greats. Like, again, you can sit here and talk about cups, and I know other fan bases were doing that and whatever, but like individually, production wise, the skill he has and what he's capable of doing on the ice, he's Mount Rushmore now. Like, he's right there.
Absolutely. How could he not be? Any other freakish things that he's done over the first, 9 years and change that just kind of stand out?
Well, I mean, for for a lot of those guys on that list, longevity comes into it, right? And for him to be able to recover from the injuries that he has in such quick fashion, that knee injury takes him out, should have taken him out for 10 months. He gets back on the ice. That's the first time he's ever had under 100 points in a season.
Yeah.
So it just, again, that shows we've talked about it, and we talked about it last night on After Dark, where it's like, often we look at Connor and we're like, oh, he's just not Connor tonight. He's still getting multiple points on those nights. It's unbelievable. He's such a special player. And it's moments like these that just kind of allow you to just stop and be like, holy, we have watched 659 games of greatness.
Well, and to that point, I said it on the site. I said it on shows yesterday. I said it on Low Tide's hit that I did with him, is like, we've gotten used to these things happening with him because we watch him every night. Nothing about what happened last night is normal. Nothing about it. The fourth fastest player in NHL history to reach that milestone. There's nothing normal about that. So I hope everybody just kind of enjoyed it a little bit.
The way he just flipped a switch here the last few games, something like 23, 24 individual shot attempts in these last 2 games. Like, that's crazy. That's basically, 12 a game, go to 4 a period that he's been putting forward. Every 5 minutes of the game, Connor McDavid is getting a look. And like, he's in another zone right now. 9 points in 3 games. It's one of those sort of vintage McDavid runs here, which again adds to it. Like, to get to 1,000 points, he didn't limp his way there. He didn't get, 3 points over a stretch of 7 games. And it became this big distraction of when's he going to get it? He just had the opportunity. If he wanted to do it on home ice, he knew he needed to get hot, and he decided to flip the switch and get hot.
Well, that was another thing I wanted to talk about that was on my list. Is it was a weird vibe to start last night's game. At least I thought. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like everyone in the building watching at home, the refs, both teams, they were just waiting for it. Every time someone was on the ice, Connor got the puck, which, by the way, is not a bad strategy.
No.
It's just a matter of like, everybody was looking for him no matter what. And I was relieved that it happened when it did, because eventually, and I think Stauffer said it during the intermission, they could just go play hockey again.
They kind of did.
And they took over and like the minutes after it was all Oilers.
And I also love Leon Draisaitl's interview with Gene, where he goes, was there ever a chance where you were going to shoot on that 2-on-1? He goes, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think he said like there could have been 3 defenders draped on him. And like, you could even tell when it just ISO on Scott Wedgwood on it. And like, Wedgwood's feet are even starting to move a little bit, almost like he's like, okay, when are you passing it? When are you passing it? And then when he did, he hammered it home. This has also brought up some really good Wayne Gretzky stats, because it's putting into perspective just how far away Wayne Gretzky is. And Frank told me today, so you could take away all of Wayne Gretzky's 1-point games, 2-point games, and 3-point games, only using the games in his career where he had 4 or more points, and he would still be at 1,000 points. He had 4 or more points, something like 265 times in his career. Wayne Gretzky had more than 3 full seasons worth of just 4+ point performances in his career. That's insane.
That's bananas. There's also the other one where you could take away all of his goals, every single one, and he'd still lead the NHL in points scored.
Connor's going to end that. That dawned on me as I was sitting here looking at it, and I'm happy you brought that up. Wayne had 1963, like it was 42 ahead of Yager, but he had 1963 assists. Connor's beating that.
You could, sure. He needs some luck. He needs some longevity, but there certainly could, of course.
If he plays 1,500 games and keeps the exact same pace he has right now, he'll finish with 2,250 or somewhere in that range.
That's also a tall order to expect him to keep at that pace when he's, 36 years old.
But he's only had 2 seasons where he's dipped below the 100-point mark.
Oh, I'm with you. And they were like shortened seasons.
Yes. Or injury riddled.
Well, we also know he's like an absolute freak, right?
He's an
like
animal.
Sid in 2018-19 put up 100 points. Sid the last 2 years was north of 90 in each of those seasons. Like, I think Connor McDavid, health is the only thing I think that could possibly stop him from getting to 2,000 points.
And the only reason I think of that is because last night as they were going through the numbers and the leaders and like Mike Bossy at number 3 in the spot that Connor only missed by 3 games, it's kind of like the reason Mike Bossy slowed down was solely because of his health.
Yeah.
So that's a major part of it. So, but at the same point, like even this season, Connor McDavid's going to be out 2-3 weeks with a lower body injury. He's like, fuck that. Maybe in human years.
And like, again, the whole like in quotes, career ending injury thing, athletes have kind of evolved a little bit. The sports science has evolved.
Totally.
Like if Mike Bossy played now, I don't think the knee injuries end his career.
Probably not.
The one thing we we didn't mention when we were talking about looking back at things is the 100-point season in 56 games.
Mhm.
That was pretty incredible too. To think back to that, you would
Bananas.
Yeah, I was one of like the 20 people in the building for it. And it was so weird because he scores and the horn rings and then it's just like quiet. Just like,
Yeah, what was better, last night or that?
yeah, I'll say
You got to think when no one was there, right?
Yeah.
Just silence. What was it like being in the building?
It was every time he touched the puck or they were in the offensive zone, the crowd was alive. It was crazy.
Fucking Scott Wedgwood Hasek, though. What
And
was
he
that?
did this. Remember, he did this to us last year when he was a Dallas Star. He had like
November
a 42 save win.
46 saves on 49 shots.
I looked. He has a career 919 against the Oilers before last night.
Who is this
Bananas.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either. But again, the cool moment. Loved seeing Brian McDavid just, he doesn't do that.
guy? Mm-hmm.
So to see him kind of go bananas as like a fan, obviously it's his son doing something ridiculous again, but like high-fiving the fans. He was in the mix. Loved seeing that for Connor McDavid's dad. Courtesy of our boy NHL Sid. I got a fun little tweet for you. Do you guys want to know the line combination when Connor McDavid scored his first NHL goal that came 3,322 days ago?
Yes,
I do.
The first line, Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Teddy Purcell.
So sorry, this would have been 2015, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know what these lines are, but I want to know who the scratches were for this game, knowing the line.
That I don't know. I don't have the scratches, but I do have the lineup. The second line, Connor's line, was Benoit Pouliot, Connor McDavid, Nail Yakupov. Third line, Anton Slepyshev, Anton Lander, Lori Korpikoski. Fourth line, Matt Hendricks, Mark Letestu, Luke Gazdic. And your D pairings were Sexy Reg Sakara, Mark Fain, Oscar Clefbaum, Jults, Brandon Davidson, and Eric Greiba. And your goalie tandem was Anders Nilsson played that night, and Cam Talbot was the backup.
How'd that team not have success?
Isn't it wild to look back at some of those? We did this on Real Life a while ago. We dove deep back into the Oilers Nation GDBs from like 10 years ago. Remember how good those lines were? You're just like, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah. We've been through some dark days, which again makes last night like even better. Like, and not taking anything away from guys, but when like Evgeny Malkin, he gets goal 500 and the crowd in Pittsburgh goes nuts. It was like, you guys are celebrating like 4 Stanley Cups and Crosby being the best player of his generation and like all this stuff. Like, feels different for us. We haven't gotten a chance to be that excited.
I did roar laughing at that Geno Malkin IG that he did though, where he's like, people will always talk about how great Lemieux and Sid are. And nobody talks about Malkin, and then he flips the camera by accident and it's him.
Oh,
Good shit.
That's a good one.
That's a good bit.
Good stuff.
I also see that one a lot with dogs on TikTok, where it's like, you're not supposed to leave your dog at home all day. And then the camera flips. It's supposed to be like the dog's filming. It's horrible. It's good stuff. I want to stick with last night's win. It was the first 3-game win streak of the season for the Oilers, which is kind of interesting. A little bit silly, but just shows the up and down season they've had. Leon Draisaitl didn't score last night. He's clearly looking for Connor, and he found him. 2 assists. So courtesy of Bob Stauffer, Leon Draisaitl has 11 goals, 13 assists for 24 points in his last 9 games versus the Predators.
It's crazy. Like
He
he
is-
didn't even look that dominant like yesterday. You know what I mean? Like in comparison to other games, and he still goes and does that to them.
Just under 3 points a game against Nashville over his last 9.
So weird.
It is so weird. Doesn't make any
Nashville's been
sense.
good.
Yeah.
Like they've been a really good team for a while. For him to just go and absolutely dominate them like that. I was curious too, actually. There was all those graphics last night too of like who McDavid has scored all these points against.
Yeah.
And the team on there, the highest team on there that kind of didn't add up was the Flyers. The Flyers is the team he's kind of gone out and taken control against. Because the other ones were like,
That's so random because they only played 2 games a year.
yeah, I thought that was
Payback.
very strange.
Payback on Brandon Manning.
He has like 33 points against him or something like that.
Since we haven't done an episode since Tuesday, I also liked Gregor's chart of every player who scored a goal off a Connor McDavid assist, and Brandon Manning being on there twice was stunning.
My boy Johan Ovitu
That's
in the
one.
singles list.
The singles
OV2.
list was pretty amazing.
The singles list was fun. There's some ghosts on there, man.
There's some guys there that are going to hang their hat on that for the rest of their lives.
Got it.
I
got
was
it.
assisted on one of Connor's goals.
Johan Ovitu. It's your classic forward D, man.
Tyler Ennis was on the list, and we asked him about it yesterday. He had one goal with McDavid, and it was his first goal as an Oiler.
That's cool.
Yeah, that
Never
was the only one
connected
he got.
again.
Yeah.
Adam Henrique only had one, which I found
There was
amazing.
a couple of names on there. Like Fogel had 3. I don't know how many I expected him to have, but like 3 just seemed
3 seems low.
Yeah.
Like Henrique had 1 because like I was like, oh, we're talking regular season points because I remember the first goal against the Kings was Connor to Henrique and in.
Oh yeah. I guess in that sense, Henrique's only played like 30 some games with him in the regular season.
Fogel though at 3 is interesting. 'Cause,
Taylor
like,
Hall at 3 was interesting.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they
Holloway
did not
had
play
2.
together at all, and then Connor got hurt, and away goes Halsey.
Yeah.
What did Jack? You have the list in front of you?
No, I don't.
What is Jack above that?
3.
3.
As many as Matthias Janmark. And Cody
Elite
Ceci.
forward, as we
Would you
discussed
rather
in the
have-
last episode.
I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I did. Can you name the top 5 really quick?
I have it in front of me.
Oh, you have it in front of you?
Yeah.
And I know it.
Yeah.
is all down to you.
I have no idea. Leon obviously is up there.
192, yeah.
Second on the list. Or first on the list.
I imagine Nuge would be up there somewhere.
Second on the list.
71,
Hyman's up there probably.
Third on the list.
67.
Trying to think of
Then
who's-
it drops off.
2
hard.
names that you're never going to get.
They don't
Probably.
play for the Oilers.
who the next
anymore,
one's?
right?
Maroon comes in at 4th. with
Okay, that makes
23.
sense.
And yes.
Yesa, Bully Harvey.
Really?
He scored 22 goals off McDavid assists, which is wild.
But he never
Yessa
played
made
on his
him-
line.
And yes, it made him better.
And he made
Everybody
him
knows
better, yeah. So
Yeah.
if anything, I want to see the list of how many players have scored goals off Bully Harvey assists.
Yeah, it'd be
It's not
That'd be
about the
nice.
numbers.
Probably
It's
sad.
about driving possession.
he's so good in the neutral zone.
Speaking of guys who are like really hard on the forecheck, is Vasily Podkolzin just going to work his ass off, his bag off every night and never score a goal?
He's
In good spots so much.
I think the answer is yes. The funny part about him is how stiff he is as a player. Like if you watch him, like he's very choppy.
Yep.
In the sense he's like, I don't want this to come across wrong because I think he's a really good player, but it's funny that he was a 10th overall pick and how unskilled he is. That sounds very like disrespectful to him.
He's
'cause
skilled.
but in the sense of like, he's just very choppy. Like he like chops around with the puck. Like he doesn't like move his stick with him. He's not a lot of fluidity. It's like very much like tight.
Mm.
You only noticed it the last couple of games. I love him,
I love him too.
but
His
I just
puck
noticed
pursuit
that
is legit.
it's amazing. I would imagine Draisaitl's the one keeping him on that line right now. I know he's playing well, but we've seen guys play well with Draisaitl and immediately fall down the lineup.
The strategy of getting your ass into the corners, digging the puck out and giving it to Leon, pretty good one.
Can't go wrong.
Pretty good one.
I'm sorry. I just got distracted there by that list one more time. And I looked up Milan Lucic's numbers. He had 18 goals assisted by Connor McDavid. The rest of his goals with the Oilers, he only had 22. So he almost had as
Well,
many
the bulk
goals
of those came in the
assisted by-
first year too.
Yep. There you go. Sorry. Anyways, distracted by
Back
that
to
list.
last night's game. Another fun little stat line from last night's win over the Predators is our pal Cal swept Nashville this year.
Yeah.
He did not have a save percentage lower than .913 against the Predators.
What was it? 4-2. He allowed 2.
He was a 4-2 and then a 5-1 and then last night.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been pretty reliable this season. I mean, that Chicago start was bad.
Yep.
And then he had one other one, which was the one he recently lost, the Devils game.
Yep.
But the others didn't score, so
They
it's
didn't
hard
score.
to really pin that on him by any means. He's been very reliable. There was a lot of question marks coming into the year of, can he do it again? I don't think there was any evidence to prove that he wouldn't be able to do it again. And I'm really happy he's been able to just maintain his form because he seems like a very likable character. I think that tandem of him and Skinner is good because he knows his role. He knows he's not the starter in this crease. And I don't think he's a guy who's ever going to go out there and be like, I deserve this game.
Matt Larkin over at Daily Faceoff wrote a really interesting story today.
Pick it
About,
for Canada?
yes.
Could be.
Who says no?
Calvin.
About how average NHL goaltending save percentage has dropped 15 points since 2016.
I didn't read this, but I looked at this a month or so ago. It's kind of crazy.
So in 2015-16, again, Connor's rookie season, the league average for goaltending was .915. Through the first month and change of the 2024-25 season, league average goaltending is dead on .900.
You know what I credit it to? Shooting from fucking everywhere. I really just think that like back in the day, we didn't have shots from behind the net happening nearly as much as you do, or from the sides of the nets. The guys are picking those corners. They're shooting it at points that I don't think that the coaches would have been okay with them doing previously. Do you disagree, Tyler?
I just think it's more of just a product of the game getting a lot more skilled. I think shooting from everywhere, the goalies have also gotten better. And if shot volume was going up, then save percentages should go up. But I just think guys are so skilled that like, look at that Wedgwood or the Nurse goal yesterday, the first
ridiculous
one,
shot.
right?
Yeah.
Like I think that goes towards your point where like, yeah, before a defenseman isn't skilled enough maybe 20 years ago in the league to step down and be like, there's an opening. Bing.
Yeah. And it's not a big opening either.
No. Yeah, like the averages, it is interesting. I just quickly went and looked on Natural Stat Trick at the 5-on-5 save percentages in the league. So there's been 54 goalies this year who have played at least 200 minutes in an NHL game. And Pickard has the 11th best save percentage amongst those 54, and Skinner is 35. So Skinner is a touch below average. Pickard's been above average, but I do think with the Oilers goaltending, man, the penalty kill gets sorted out a little bit here. You're going to see both Skinner and Pickard.
2 straight games of perfection.
Yeah. I think you're going to see both Skinner and Pickard get above league average here. I'd say by Christmas is a good goal.
So I know we're talking about the Islanders and the Predators, but I am not discounting 2 straight games of PK perfection.
Yeah.
It's a good
For this team, like it's a building block, something to maybe feel good about a little bit. PK didn't let them down.
Yeah, it needs to be an important part of their game and how they're going to win. And the power play showed up too. I think just special teams overall has just been better in these past couple of games. And I mean, hey, when you get a 5-second kill when Jeff Skinner goes to the box quickly, that'll help the stats as well. So yeah, they seem to have found a bit of a groove, and goalies are making saves. I had a quick question to go back to on the Larkin thing. What was the year he marked it from?
Larkin, he goes all the way back. So I just picked from 2015-16, but he goes, give me a sec here.
So I guess while you're looking for that,
he goes back to 94-95.
So the best season of league average ever for save percentage, it is when it started counting. I believe this was the year 1955, 919 save percentage. The third best ever was 2014-15 for league average at 915 in that 2015 year as well.
Well, and going back to the 50s, half the team couldn't skate.
That is true. And there's also
or raise the puck.
Was 210 games that season and basically 1,000 more, 1,230.
So it's interesting. Like, go read Larkin's post at dailyfaceoff.com. Like 1994-95, it was a 901. 95-96, dip below 900, 898. So he breaks it down. It's interesting. It's a fascinating article.
And with all of that too, like, should be no surprise that Canada doesn't have any goalies. Like with those numbers of like the way they are, you should be like, oh yeah, it makes sense that all the Canadian goalies kind of stink right now because nobody's apparently good.
But in that time, have we not shifted away from the like that time period specifically that you laid out, Bag Milk, 2015 to now? That would be when we've kind of shifted away from the 60, 70 game goalies as well.
For sure.
I'm just kind of throwing out more.
Like we talked about Dominic Hasek last week on the show where he did the back-to-back Hearts and he was at 930 in both seasons. Like that's stupid.
And he was playing like 65, 70 games.
Yeah, stupid.
That's like, again, while we're looking at like history books and whatnot, there's a very, very, very good chance that Marc-Andre Fleury is the last goalie to ever play 1,000 games in the NHL. Like, again, that number, there's only been 4 in league history, but like guys nowadays, if you do the math of like 60 games a year at the peak for a starter, you need to play so many seasons then as a legitimate number one. And I'm now realizing I can't do that math in my head, but 1,000 divided by 60.
Go ahead.
You'd have to play 16.6 seasons as like workhorse number one to get to 1,000. No one's ever doing that again.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I think the workhorse in the NHL right now would be Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has only played, he's 31 and he has 518 games.
Well,
the most he's played in his career is 66.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like Fleury came in when he was like 19 or whatever, right? Like goalies nowadays aren't coming in until they're 22.
Shesterkin, only 225 games played already.
He's like
also
26.
28.
Different angle entirely. Marc-Andre Fleury, I need you to play another year, buddy. You're one of the last guys older than me in the NHL. This is driving me nuts. There's going to be a flip when everybody in the league is younger than me. Dan, it's coming for you.
Someday soon. Yep.
So come on, Marc-Andre Fleury. You got one more in you. Pretty sure Ovi's older than me. They're going to parade him out until he's dead, I think, though. So that's good.
Yeah, there are 6 players in the league aged 38 or older right now.
Ooh, Crosby.
No.
Oh, damn.
Perry.
Oh, wait, no. Was this last year's? Oh, this was last year's list.
There's almost as many people in this office over the age of 38.
Here we go. Over the age of 38 this year, there's actually 11. 2 of them are Oilers.
Average age. Woo.
And like going back, we had Mike Smith, who's one of the old boys as well.
Yeah, but 2 40-year-olds this year in the NHL, Fleury and Suter.
Come on, boys. You got another one in you.
Credit to Ryan Suter.
You got another one in you, boys, I believe.
Brent Burns, Corey Perry, Jonathan Quick are all 39.
The reason this came to my mind is the other day I was making fun of the term I came up with for Corey Perry was that he's crypt keeper sports old.
Mm-hmm.
And then I Googled his birthday. I'm like, fuck me, I'm older than him by a month. Damn it. It's really upsetting. It's coming for all you boys.
It's true.
I'm just happen to be the first one here. If Rick was here, this happened ages ago. Rick's a very old man. He is actually at a resort in Mexico that specializes in, pain and management.
Octogenarians.
Yes, octogenarians. Then he's going to go on a Disney cruise where dinner is served at 4 p.m.
And never get off the boat.
That's right. Going back to last night's victory, another thing I want to touch on. 2 more things I want to touch on. Little love for Daryl.
Yeah, great game.
He's definitely
worth every penny.
He's having a pretty good year. Like things have really turned around for him in the last 2-3 weeks here, but like points aside last night, and those were awesome. He is playing good D hockey. Like good.
How much do you think is legitimately? So I got a number here from our boy NHL said. How much of that do you think over the last handful of games is because he's played with Brett Kulak?
All of it.
Not all of it. He deserves credit.
Well, I think he's played well, but I think playing with Kulak changes his mentality of playing. I think if knowing that he has a reliable partner who can also make plays in those moments better than what Stetcher and Dermott would do would change it. Like I'm not saying it's it's not all Brett Kulak making the plays out there. Obviously Nurse is doing it, but Brett Kulak being there is the reason he's able to do it.
From our boy NHL said, in 75 minutes together so far, the Nurse Kulak duo has a 66 XGF percentage and are up 3-1 in even strength goals. Oilers might have something here.
Yeah, and I think, again, good to know heading into the deadline exactly what you feel like Brett Kulak's capable of when it comes to switching over. He should reasonably get more comfortable playing the other side of the ice too as this goes on. And yeah, I think it's good that they've kind of found a duo that works. And, what does that mean for the third pairing? Because I do think there's something where I'm not as confident in a Stetcher-Emberson duo as
let's talk about what you want to do then. Because to me, let's assume this pairing works.
Okay.
I still think the play is to go try and find a 2RD because then that just gives you way more options on the third pairing.
Yeah, I think ideally you almost want another Brett Kulak somehow.
Totally.
Someone who can play both sides, right?
Because like you brought up Provorov.
Plays both
if
sides.
all of a sudden, if Provorov is in your top 4, you go, okay, that makes sense. But if Kulak Nurse is actually something that works, and then you have a guy like that and he's on your third pairing with a Ty Emerson, all of a sudden your third pairing looks pretty good.
Yeah. I think that's the kind of player you're looking for. And I mean, you can argue about, and I think there are good reasons for why people would want to stay away from an Ivan Provorov. And I get all of that. Pure hockey player wise, you're probably looking for someone like that though, who again, a lefty or a righty who's comfortable on the other side.
So I just thought it was interesting. Our boy NHL Sid's always diving into the numbers. Makes me feel smarter when I get to quote him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to bring up finally, what's your take on Jeff Skinner right now? I made a joke last night when he got that penalty to negate the power play. I'm like, if this doesn't continue, he's going to be out of here by the deadline. I was not being serious, by the way. A lot of people were like, I agree with you. Yeah. Like, well, hang on. What do you think about Jeff Skinner?
I saw an article online the other day saying that he might be traded out of town. Like it's
so early.
It's a pretty quick knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, but he's very clearly fallen out of favor. And I think where people are starting to maybe connect the dots are like, okay, if they don't trust Jeff Skinner to play with one of McDavid or Draisaitl, then he's in your bottom 6. And if he's in your bottom 6 right now and Evander Kane comes back, then Jeff Skinner's on your fourth line, but you can't trust him in the D zone. So how can you say he's a good fourth liner? So he's making $3.5 million. The experiment isn't working. If you need cap space at the deadline, that's the guy you just throw into a deal and say, like, sorry, Jeff, it didn't work out. But I still think you got to give him a few months here to find his footing.
But to your point, though, I think like if he's not producing points, he is not on the penalty kill. What is the spot for him?
But it comes down to the player. Like, he's got to hold up his end of the bargain way more than he has. I would love to see just 5 straight games with Connor, and let's see if they
flip that quickly.
Right?
They flip that really quickly.
Yeah, they've basically given it, ever since Connor has come back from injury, no time. And it is interesting to compare Skinner and Podkolzin. One is not producing a drop. One has 6 points in 17 games, and yet one continually gets benched, and the other one, despite not producing, has not lost his spot next to Leon Draisaitl.
We call that the hustle per 60.
Yeah.
Do we have any indication as to what it is, or if it is just Knobloch versus Skinner?
Well, it's just the fact that Jeff Skinner it feels like every game, almost twice a game, he's doing something with the puck that's like, you can't do that. And I think his ability to remember the defensive side of the ice, and that's playing well in the D zone, but also when you're going into the offensive zone, like there was that one goal against Vegas where like he was the third forward in, went way too deep. The play went back the other way. Vegas scores. And it's like, he doesn't have the ability to think of how does this affect the D zone, whatever I'm going to do. And then on top of that, if he's not scoring a bunch of goals, it's like, it's the forward version of Evan Bouchard, isn't it? Where like you'll live with the Jeff Skinner D zone mistakes if he has 6 goals in 17 games.
Yep.
You're not going to live with the Jeff Skinner mistakes if he has 3 goals in 17 games.
Yep.
I think he's been a bit I agree. Like, he can't make those errors. I think his errors are very obvious. I think he's a bit unfair in moments too. How he's like that goal against the Islanders the other day where he's kind of running around like a headless chicken.
That was Corey Perry's side of the ice.
Ryan Poole walks him. But Skinner's also making up for the 2 forwards that didn't come back in time to get there, right?
Yeah,
There was a few errors on that play, and it's just like, really? Like, he's the one you're going to pull out of that? I just thought that was a bit unfair on him. And I think you look at last night too, like, misses the open net. Like, should have scored Dash, right? Gets the penalty, which felt like a game management penalty in a way.
Totally. That wasn't a penalty.
That was very unfortunate. And then gets 10 minutes of ice time. I don't know. I think the best way to get Skinner confident again is you have to worry about the defensive side too, but you also have to put him in spots to succeed. Mm-hmm. And hey, he's a $3 million guy that has the ability to be a 30 goal scorer.
Yep.
And I don't think they're getting the best out of him right now, but they need to figure out how to get the best out of him. And I don't think benching him is the way to do that.
I also think that, and nobody wants to hear it ever, on the human angle, he played a long time in Buffalo. Sometimes it takes a minute.
Well, and for the guy coming into Edmonton, we were struggling for offense at the start of the season, and he was the only guy firing the puck nonstop. Yeah. He was the only guy that got it.
He had 4 shots last night.
The Jeff Skinner shot prop was delicious early on. I will tell you.
70 points. I'm still saying it. He's getting it. I believe. I think
I could also see him going on a run here where he just starts, because his shot is so good.
Even last game, he missed that wide open look and he was so upset with himself. I don't know how much they showed on TV, but like after the play died and there was a whistle, he like skated into the corner, shaking his head and was like visibly frustrated.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit of betting, boys. Betting segment brought to you by our friends at Bet365, proud partner of Oilersnation Radio. Open an account with Bet365 today. I'm betting on a huge range of markets, so whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The code is NATION. NATION is the code. The code is NATION. We're doing something. We're looking at the futures today, boys. I was looking for some Oilers Leafs lines. They're not up yet.
Damn.
I get greedy sometimes, Liam. But what we do have is some adjusted Stanley Cup odds.
Ooh.
Oilers find themselves on their first 3-game win streak of the season. Last time we checked in on the Oilers Stanley Cup odds, they were plus 800. Liam, what do you think they are today?
Same.
Tyler, playing guess that line.
Say 850. Gotten a hair worse.
Dan, we're playing guess that line. Oilers Cup odds. Do you think they're the same? Have they moved?
I'm going to guess the public is going on them, and I'm going to say it's 700.
I'm saying Dan's cheating because Dan nailed it. Plus 700 for the Oilers Stanley Cup odds. They are currently favorited, which they weren't the last time we checked in. They were tied at first. Though I guess that counts. Up next, the red hot Winnipeg Jets are 2 at plus 900. The Devils also 900. Hurricanes, Panthers, and Leafs round out the top 6 at plus 1,000. The other one I want to touch on with you boys is the Hart Trophy race. Tyler, you mentioned 9 points for McDavid in his last 3 games. The man's starting to heat up, and when he does, that's bad news for defenders and goaltenders. But guess that line: Art Ross Trophy, Connor McDavid.
Art Ross. I'll say plus 210.
Liam, you got a guess? Art Ross Trophy, Connor McDavid, most points in the NHL.
Plus 400. That seems way too high.
I'll say plus 300.
You still sticking with it?
Yes.
You want to adjust? All right. Connor McDavid currently, as of this recording, Friday, November 15th, plus at 325 to win the Art Ross Trophy. He is currently 3rd. He has flown up the rankings since we last did this. Nathan McKinnon still first at plus 170, Kucherov at plus 230, and then our man, number 97, slides in at 3rd. Anybody adjusting their date by which Connor McDavid enters the top of the NHL scoreboard? What was it, top 10?
Saturday.
Top 10, yeah.
Yeah.
9 points in 3 games. Boy, does that ever help. So just to give everyone an update once again, 28th now, 19 points, and that would mean he's 4 out of the top 10.
My New Year's Day prediction is looking terrible.
Yeah, that's a rough one. But
it's aging like cottage cheese, I'd say.
Ooh, but who's are aging well? Like we gave Rick a chance to redo it on Tuesday, and even he's going to be wildly off. He said December 3rd. Dan said December 23rd off. Liam, I guess, is going to win this because he said November 30th. But
I'm a believer, folks. A believer and positivity. A believer.
Did you say a Libra?
Believer.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Of course. Yeah, I'm still am. Forever. Hey, just because the public doesn't believe anymore doesn't mean I don't. So there goes Art Ross Trophy talk, looking at the futures. And then tonight, just because it's fun, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. The fight is on Netflix today. It's Friday. Let's talk about the odds. Will it be the old man or will it be the young buck? A lot of people in the betting public seems to be Mike Tyson has no chance to win this fight. Nation Dan, we were playing Guess That Line, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. You got an option. A KO, a TKO, or a DQ, which I imagine is Dairy Queen.
Yes.
What are the odds for Jake Paul to get any of those 3 outcomes?
I would guess that I'm guessing that it's going to be a 3rd round TKO for Paul. If there is 3 rounds, I'm assuming that there's
8.
Perfect. So 3rd round TKO for Paul. And I'm going to say that's like a plus 250.
Liam, what do you got? 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
A KO, a TKO, or a Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen.
A KO being that you get knocked out
not
cold.
A Dairy Queen. I think it'll be a decision.
Going all the way.
Yeah. Those rounds are very short. They're only 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, they're quick.
I'll say Jake Paul by decision. I think it's plus 250.
So right now, the odds for KO, TKO, DQ, disqualification. Jake Paul's plus 130. Mike Tyson, no love, plus 275.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And I know how old he is. When Tyson lands like a big body shot.
Which is coming.
Yeah, like he's surely still got some power in him. He knows how to box, obviously. I don't really know who's going to win. I'll watch out the corner of my eye, probably.
I'm looking forward to it. It's just like, it's a spectacle. Sometimes I like a spectacle.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
How about this one? Guess that line. Draw or technical draw? And this is just one flat line. How's
technical draw?
I don't know.
I would imagine that's both fighters leave at the same time.
Both KO'd at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, they like on The Simpsons. Or no, I guess Step Brothers when they hit each other in the head.
Similar.
That would be a double KO, I think.
Plus 150?
Plus 250.
Boys, you got to chase the juice on this one.
Oh, plus 500.
Oh, really?
Plus 850.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's true. How often does a draw happen?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking yeah, you're okay. Wow.
Big boxing guys.
Yep.
Big boxing guys. As you can tell, this is our area of expertise. So if you want your boxing notes, pop on over to boxingnation.com. Don't tell Jay. Betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Oilersnation Radio. Make an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets, whatever the sport, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. The code is NATION. 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 Got it? Good. A couple more things before we get to Ask the Idiots. News came out today. No Austin Matthews tomorrow in the tete-a-tete.
What a shame.
Leafs are still 4-1 without Matthews in the lineup.
Interesting.
Matthew Nyes has stepped up. Our boy Arun, who's the editor of theleafsnation.com, will be having a feature of what to expect from the Leafs going up tomorrow morning at Oilersnation.com. A little cross promo. So that's notable, though. Matthew's still out with an upper body injury of some kind. What are you most expecting outside of the game? How many times are we going to hear that Connor McDavid is going to be a Leaf tomorrow? What's your line at?
I don't think like
coming out of Toronto, not here.
Yeah. I mean, sure, like trolls online will probably want to keep grabbing onto that, but I feel like
Nick Alberga, who wrote about it this morning.
No way.
Did he really?
Yep.
Why?
I feel like, again, most rational, smart people know that Draisaitl signed, Connor's going to sign. This summer, he's going to do an 8-year deal. Like, it's going to happen. So, yeah, I just feel like, again, the people at least I'll be listening to won't be talking about it.
Mr. McDavid, I guess, was doing some interviews last night and was dropping that McDavid loves Toronto, or McDavid loves Edmonton kind of vibes. Sorry, yeah. McDavid loves Edmonton.
See the eyeballs on Liam there?
I did, yeah, I got his
looks could kill.
there.
You'd be dead on the floor right now.
It's very true.
Well, he even talked about again, I don't know that you could have drawn up a better goal than going, well, and I mean, Leon said if you could have involved Nugent there somehow, but Daryl to Leon to Connor and in, it's just kind of perfect. And he said how, I'm paraphrasing, we all grew up here. We did it in front of these fans. We wanted to do it in front of these fans. So it's just a little tugging on the heartstring things. Looking at the Oilers schedule, they are on the road. They are in Toronto on Saturday. They are in Montreal on Monday and in Ottawa on Tuesdays. We got another back-to-back coming up early next week. What's your record on those 3 games, Tyler? I don't see a loss in sight.
That's why I'm smirking.
I'm going 3-0.
I said beginning of November in one of the episodes of O&E when I was kind of going on my whole, this team is fine. They're just unlucky rants. I still believe that. And I said they're shooting 5.4%. And in my brain, the simple math means if they're going to get up to 8%, that means they're going to have a run where they shoot 11, 12, 13% for a few games. And I said, when that happens, if it's paired with good goaltending, they won't lose. And I think we're right in the middle of what's going to be a 6 to 8 game winning streak for the Oilers. I don't think they're losing.
Liam, what do you got? This little 3-game roadie here.
Same.
Running the table. Dan, you're always the detractor on the podcast.
I like to call it pragmatic, but yeah, I don't know. I really do think that the Leafs get up for the Oilers games. So I think that tomorrow night's the biggest challenge, obviously, on the schedule. But if there is going to be a stretch where they're going to go 5 in a row, it's now, or sorry, 6 in a row, I guess it would be now. So.
No Matthews helps. I know the Leafs are 4-1, but again,
he's a game breaker. There's no doubt about it. Time for Ask the Idiots. You submitted the questions. I'm going to ask the fellas, and we're doing it for the Jasper Minor Hockey Fundraiser. We've got a couple of items over there. We're going to help raise some funds to get the kids back on the ice in Jasper. We're going to do our part. The crew necks are there. The boys wore them on the video version of the podcast the other day. They looked handsome. They look fantastic. So there's the t-shirt, there's also the crew neck, and we also have just a link, just a straight donation if you want to do that as well. So all of that is up at nationgear.ca. Help us raise some money and get the kids back on the ice in Jasper. Today, I've got 4 questions for you, fellas. And I think they're fun. One of these is from the mailbag, which is going to be a feature on Oilers Nation and has been for 12 straight years. Haven't missed a Monday. How's that for consistency? Leon Draisaitl, Tyler, is 128 points away from reaching 1,000. How close do you think he gets this season? And I did a little math for you. 65 games left.
I think he's going to get another 100 points this year and finish with 122. So he will be 28 points away when next season begins.
Liam, how close is he getting?
Yeah, I unfortunately don't want to sway away from that answer either. So I think he'll get right around 100 more points.
Dan?
I believe he's going to get close to 100. I think he's going to beat Brad Marchand to 1,000 points in his career, and Marchand has 942 right now, and Leon only has 870.
Oh wow, that's a bold one.
That is a
Thanks.
bold take.
I'm also a Brad Marchand hater, so
that is true. That is true. From your time in Halifax, I believe
it's true.
I'm going to say that he gets within 20 points of 1,000 by the end of the year.
20 points. Wow.
So he gets one.
So he's going to get 110 points from now I just think he's heating up.
Yeah. So that means he's finished.
He's heating up and Connor's heating up and the power play's heating up. It's just, I'm connecting dots here.
I just wonder how many goals he's going to score. He's 12 and 17 right now.
That is crazy.
Like,
well,
what if
Tyler
he
said it
gets 60
before.
this year?
Tyler said it before when we were at the game together against Pittsburgh. If he just be a little bit more selfish, he's got such a good shot. He could score so many goals.
Yeah.
So many goals.
Yeah.
Now Connor's got his 1,000th. Get back to shooting. Question number 2, reversing the order. Dan, what is one change you would like to make to the Oilers in-game product? We've heard all of your takes about thoughts on the intermission, but I want to know about the actual game itself. That one comes in from Clay.
I'm kind of a fan of playing music during the play. I think would be my move to just kind of keep the vibe going and keep the party going. And I like the DJ work that they have in the arena. So I would try music during the play.
I do enjoy that about going to Stingers games. Liam, what's one in-game change you would make?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think the Oilers do a pretty good job.
Could be a TV angle as well.
One thing they changed this season, I've only been to one game this year, so correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they call it the t-shirt toss anymore. It's called something else. It's
A t-shirt blast.
Yeah.
Because they have the guns.
Change that back.
But it's the guns.
But it's a toss. Alliteration matters. That was the one.
Tyler, what's one in-game change, whether you're watching at home or at the game?
Do you remember when we were watching a game in LA and they had the board with all the advanced analytics on it? And
yeah, totally.
I would love to see the Oilers have a bit more analytics so I can see.
The screen is ready to do it.
Yeah. Like, show me expected goals. Show me all this stuff. Like, why not? More information for fans, the better. So yeah, I would maybe lean there. One thing that it's a part of a bunch of national broadcasts and I can't stand it when they flash up here's each player's odds to win this face-off. And it's almost always like 49.6 to 50.4. And it's like, so you're telling me most of these face-offs are 50-50. Thanks.
Yeah.
Like if it's like some guy's unbelievable in the dot, tell us that. But when they put up for like every second face-off, it's like whatever, Saturday, it'd be like Draisaitl versus Yarncroc, 49.7 to 50.3. And it's like, yeah, we don't need to see that.
One thing I would love to have, every player mic'd up. Last night against, and not necessarily that's like a live feed coming out, but like last night after the 1,000-point goal, hearing Draisaitl mic'd up on that play added a completely different layer to the celebration. You could hear all the boys screaming. Like when Derek Ryan said that was frickin' amazing, unreal. Mic the boys up.
I noticed last night too, and maybe it's because Nugent's mic'd up as well, wasn't he?
Yep.
It felt like you could hear a couple extra things in the game. I don't know if that was.
I like it.
Coincidence.
Or you could just go full like pay-per-view, mic'd up. You get to hear what's going on the ice.
Yeah.
Now
cool.
That'll never happen, of course, but I would pay to hear it.
So a long time ago in England, for Premier League games, for the prime game of the night on Saturdays, they would have, I think it was called like Fan Zone or something very generic like that. They would have a fan from either team watch the game together, and that would be your commentary for the game.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was very fun because sometimes obviously like heated debates happen. So you'd be watching the game and they're not talking about the game at all. They're like discussing something else. That might be like a funny thing. And it was never like a channel on its own. You could always watch the game with commentary. But if you went to like this different channel, it was there. So I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe that's
kind of like the Manning cast in a way.
Yeah, very similar. But two fans who clearly could never play the game.
Also, more 50-50 promotions, please.
Oh, yeah.
This was an in-game thing, Dan. In-game.
No, we need more 50-50 in-game promotions. I don't remember.
Breaking. Edmonton's already in on the 50-50.
Yeah, we love 50-50.
We're buying. We're in.
Yeah.
We're in. Liam, I'm coming right in the middle.
Right.
This one comes in from Kevin. You have a voucher to buy one new Oilers jersey of any style with any name. Who are you getting on the back? The rule is you can't get a player you already have.
So I'm going to get that white reverse retro they had a few years ago.
With the orange?
Was it white and orange? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually don't have a McDavid jersey, so I would get him.
I am saying the exact same thing. I don't have a McDavid jersey. And I want that reverse retro. Tyler, this is going to be tough for you. You got a lot of jerseys.
I know, but I want, you know how they're starting to bring back those Michelin Ness throwbacks
Yep.
from like the 06 era?
Yep.
I love that they're finally doing them in the pro stitched version, not the cheapy little plastic version, but I will not buy one until they release an Ales Hemsky. That will be my next Oilers jersey I purchase. I want the white with the 06 patch Ales Hemsky.
That's great. Dan?
I want one of these Los Petrolos or whatever it
Those
is.
are sick. They're really good.
One of those jerseys. I want Ekholm. I'd like to have a Matthias Ekholm jersey.
Those were really nice. That merch, like, not surprising it sold out like that.
Yeah, I really would like to get my hands on one of those hats.
I would also really love to get my hands on last year's Outdoor Classic, the Heritage Classic jerseys.
Oh yeah, those are tough to find.
Why those are just not like a staple in the store makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I get it's not Adidas anymore, but like, come on. Final question. Tyler, starting over with you. This one comes in from Dangerous Wade, so you know it's serious business. Cars have become illegal and riding animals becomes the norm again. Which animal are you adopting for transportation, but it can't be a horse? Please factor in speed, convenience, and animal size.
Bear, grizzly bear. They're so big that I feel like you could very comfortably sit on the back. I could have my snacks still because there's so much room on the back of a large bear.
True.
So I go with a big grizzly bear.
Channeling, I'm going to take it. I'm stealing it from you. I'm channeling my inner Yesa and I'm going Bison King.
Sure.
I'm sitting on the top of a bison.
Majestic animal.
Your bear can't take down my bison. My bison just barrels through the bear like a Dodge Ram truck.
Bears go so fast though.
Liam, you're riding an animal. That's how you're getting around now. What is it?
So, part of this question was it doesn't have to be on land.
True.
So, therefore,
It's going to be tough to get to work, though.
I am going with
Nessie.
a bird,
Go ahead.
an eagle.
Sure.
I will
Majestic.
ride the eagle,
Hmm.
fly the eagle, perhaps, wherever I need to go. I would never get stuck in traffic.
You're getting there faster.
No one would ever see me, which would be preferred.
Mm-hmm.
Should have gone Condors. Should have gone a Condor.
That would have been very good. My
On
other
brand.
one, I was going to, you go first. I don't want to steal it.
I'm going to go with giraffe.
That's a good one.
I don't like traffic. I'm up there and I could just tap him on the old neck and say, hey, bro, what's coming up ahead? And he just comes down with his big old neck and he goes, this is what I got. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's back up there. He's watching his eyes. He's my eyes and my ears.
If I was in a place like Venice, hippopotamus.
Mhm.
Sure.
Land and water.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Very fast.
And
animal.
they go quick. Yeah.
they go real fast.
Get in the way, it chomp you down.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be chilling.
No animal kills more people than a hippo. So that's a good chance. That's a
Yeah.
good,
Mosquitoes.
well, I don't count those as
They're bugs, not animals.
so that's a different
Insects.
debate we could
That's
have
an
on there.
interesting debate.
That is it. We got that a different one and ask the idiots.
Insects.
They're still animals.
No, they're insects.
Well, yes.
Are you basing that on their skeletal system?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Ask the
Just
idiots.
removed them from the animal kingdom. Good for him.
Slide on into my DMs. Ask the boys a question. They don't hear them before I ask them. Just, you can ask dumb shit like Dangerous Wade. What animal would we ride? And it's a giraffe
Oh,
or a hippo. I do like bear though.
that's a
I would have gone polar bear though. Shout out to the Elks. Do they still have an elk polar bear mascot?
They do.
Oh,
Nanook.
do they?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. I only see the ball.
Punter.
Interesting.
Mm.
Well, Punter was
Wow.
up for the Hall of Fame, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Can't help but notice they never got
Not
back
gonna-
to us, that mascot Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Disgusting.
Awful. Let's wrap up the podcast here, fellas, with some hot and cold performers. This one is, again, just go to nationgear.ca. We got a bunch of new stuff going up, including some fresh gear that Kennedy showed me yesterday that is going to be hitting the shop soon. Nationgear.ca. Get yourself something to beautify your torso. That's what Tyler always says. He wants you to look at your most handsome. Nationgear.ca. Tyler, we're going to start off with you, your cold performer of the week.
Darnell Nurse haters. It's just the people for me. And like, this is a thing with Stuart Skinner too. But people who get so obsessed with disliking a player that they refuse to give credit during the good
Totally.
times. And I heard a bit of it yesterday at the game where he's playing so good and you have people being like, well, yeah, we pay him to be that good. And it's like, no, you don't get to sit there when he's bad and say he's the worst contract in the NHL. Then when he actually plays good, say, well, it's not good enough for me. Moving the goalposts, stuff like that. It drives me nuts. So the Darnell Nurse haters are my cold performer of the week.
We're in the new studio, so I don't know what these buttons do. We'll see.
Don't don't care.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Liam, you're up next. Cold Performer of the Week for nationgear.ca.
So, upon the news that just came, the Elks mascot has changed. I didn't know.
What is it?
They don't have a polar bear anymore.
What?
He was retired in 2021
Come on.
for Spike the elk.
Oh,
That adds up.
That
It
does.
adds up.
the math is math in there.
Yeah. But my original Cold Performer of the Week, I as you guys know, last week finished Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Over the weekend.
R.I.P.
That was a big
Gilmore.
moment.
So
for
I
you.
started Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life. Terrible. Got halfway through the first episode and turned it off. The character's so different. It's not the same. That's what I said.
The button just says Liam the Platty. I
Liam
don't-
sound effect days.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think a lot of them would be on that.
Nation Dan, Cold Performer of the Week for nationgear.ca.
Well, it's a change for this team, and we ended up winning the games. But the fact that we had to get forced into overtime twice this week, just not being able to put the foot down on the throat of both the Islanders and the Nashville Predators. Predators a little bit better than the Islanders, but certainly shouldn't have allowed the Islanders back into that game. So not having that killer instinct is going to get my Cold Performer of the Week.
Wait, okay, hold on.
I like that one.
On one.
Okay, hold on.
I'm going to go again. Rick, you are a cold performer because you're in Mexico right now. It is snowing in Edmonton. And while it does look beautiful to look out the window, I don't want to drive in it. So this is one.
Okay, hold on.
But the more important cold performer of the week is me.
Oh.
Because for the second time in a matter of weeks, I have missed Eric Sabrowski. I don't know how this happens to me. Last night, you saw him at the game. He was in the office like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I keep missing him. So I am the cold performer of the week. Eric, we're going to make this work, pal. I'm going to see you at some point. Shit.
It's a good button.
Oh, that word works too. All right, boys, let's finish off the podcast with some bright sides. Reversing the order. Nation Dan, you're up first. Your hot performer of the week.
My hot performer of the week is going to be going out to Blue Sky Social. It's back, and I'm back on social media, and I'm enjoying it. So gets my shout out as a hot performer of the week.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
It has a very Twitter 2012 vibe to it.
Back.
Interesting. The only stuff you see on Blue Sky is stuff you want to see. I imagine that's going to change at some point, but like right now, it's all right. Liam, you're up next. Hot performer of the week for nationgear.ca.
Mike Tyson's interview with that 10-year-old girl.
Oh,
where he
fuck.
Talks about
Legacy.
It was amazing. I'm speechless. It left me. Shockingly, did not leave her speechless, which is credit to her.
It's getting hot in here.
So there was another thing. It wasn't that one because I legitimately laughed out loud as I was watching that one because it's so funny. There was another one where a little kid was asking Mike Tyson if he's going to beat Jake Paul. And his answer was, "Oh, yes, I fully intend to hurt him badly." And I'm like, you're talking to a child. I love it. Anyway, Tyler, you're up next. Hot performer of the week for nationgear.ca.
There is a Paul Skeens 1-of-1 rookie debut patch autograph rookie, and it is a great baseball card. It is truly like a 1-of-1 unique because it has the MLB debut patch from his first ever MLB game in it. So it's the only one of its kind, and it's just getting put into packs of Topps Chrome now. The Pittsburgh, have you heard about this, BM?
I have.
Yeah. So the Pittsburgh Pirates want this card back, whoever pulls it. So they are offering whoever gets it a spring training experience like no other, which includes private tours of their whole facilities, a meet and greet with Paul Skeens, 2 Paul Skeens autographed jerseys. You get to take batting practice and warm up with the team and what they call other unique spring training experiences. And then they're giving you access to PNC Park, their main stadium in Pittsburgh, for once a day for 30 years. Yeah, once a year for 30 years, to do a softball game with you and whoever you want with coaching from Pirates alumni. And the kicker, they're giving you 2 Pirates season ticket holders right behind home plate for the next 30 years.
And what else?
And Livy Dunn says you can sit with her in her box for a game, which is also tempting. All of this, and I still think whoever gets this baseball card would be dumb to take that offer because it will probably be worth $1 million one day.
Boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up. I did read that. Hot performer of the week. I'm just taking the obvious one. Connor McDavid, 1,000 points last night, 4th fastest in NHL history. More so that we're just so lucky that we get to watch him do his thing on a nightly basis. I remember when Sid first came into the league, and I was very jealous of Penguins fans that they got to watch him every single game. We get the exact same thing. And just Connor, thanks for the memories, bro. Looking forward to the next 659 games in an Oilers uniform.
Yeah!
Do we have the beat on this one yet?
No, we don't.
All right. Well,
Y'all having a good time out there.
score predictions, boys. Tomorrow gets the leagues named in.
3-2 Oilers win over.
Yep.
5-2 Oilers win. 5-3 Oilers win.
I'm going to say 5-2. It's a good thing that stopped when it did for copyright reasons.
Of course, yes. I'm going to go 6-1 win for the Oilers. I'm getting a dismantling at Scotiabank Arena tomorrow. I can feel it in my plums. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.